Thanks for visiting noamkroll.com. This is my first video review, which is on the Canon C100. This is a camera that initially I wasn't too sure about. The price point was pretty high, the specs didn't really seem so great, and I was really into the Blackmagic camera when this was first announced. So I didn't really give it a shot until recently, but I've been very impressed with the camera, and throughout this video I'm going to give you some of my insight into why I really love this camera and why I've done a 180 on it over the last few weeks. First of all, the handle grip, the top handle, it's really built like a video camera. It has built-in ND filters, it has XLRs, it has all the things that for us coming from DSLRs we've really missed over the last few years. So it's great to have all those things back. It's really good to feel, the same ease of use that I did 6 or 7 years ago when I was shooting on a DVX100. The low light capability of this camera is absolutely amazing. The camera currently actually goes up to 80,000 ISO, which isn't really usable, but a lot of the different steps up to that point are. For example, if I were to shoot at 51,200, which is about half the way there, it's the same grain you might see at 6,400 on your average DSLR. As you can see in the clip here, I've actually done some noise reduction using Neat Video, and it looks very, very clean. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than what it looked like coming into it. The great thing about having a camera that can shoot in ultra low light like this is if you're doing a documentary or a narrative film where you're shooting guerrilla style and you just don't have the lights or the rigging equipment to get those last few shots that you need, you can shoot as pretty much as high as you need to very comfortably. If you're shooting at 20,000 ISO, you don't really have to worry about that. And for me, that's a big shock because I'm coming from a Blackmagic where 1600 is where it tops out, or a GH3 where 3200 is completely unusable because it's so grainy. So it's really refreshing to be able to shoot on a camera where I can go that high and not worry about it, and even stop down on my lenses at some point under street lights so I can get a depth of field that is more manageable for myself while I'm pulling focus. Over the past few days, I've shot a lot of run and gun test footage with the camera. So take a look at some of these shots. They've been very lightly graded, almost all just handheld, just to get a feel for the camera.
But you breaking my whole thesis. I'm gon' feel it, but you flowing with the shame. And there's another thing, I'm in love with truth and sick and tired of this truth. I'm thinking that you're falling, but you're stolen when you're holding me.
In terms of the sensor size on this camera, it's absolutely perfect. In the past, I haven't been a huge fan of shooting on full frame because I feel that that's a little better for stills. I like Super 35 because it's more of a traditional motion picture format size. So for me, I love putting on a 35mm lens, knowing that it's exactly what it should look like on a 35mm film camera. So that definitely gives me some peace of mind, but the sensor itself is also very strong. It's a 4K sensor. It's the exact same sensor you get in the C300 or the C500, which means when it's downsampled to 1080p, you get an absolutely beautiful, crisp image. You're not getting any line skipping as you would coming from a huge full frame SLR, and you're not getting the dullness that you might get from a smaller sensor. So the C100 is often compared to the Blackmagic Cinema Camera, which is interesting to me because they're very, very different cameras, but I also understand the comparison because when I was considering buying the Blackmagic, the C100 was one of the other cameras I was looking at. So, you know, throughout some of the test footage that I'll be showing in this video, I will be not only showing test footage from the C100, but also comparing it to the Blackmagic Cinema Camera for those of you that may be interested in one or the other, or possibly both. The first thing I'll be comparing here is the sensor size and the focal length. So if we're putting the same lens on each camera, this is what it's going to look like. Next up is dynamic range. So as you can see here, the Blackmagic obviously has a little bit of an advantage. We're getting another stop at dynamic range. It's pretty close, but I would definitely give Blackmagic the edge up in this particular situation. Here we have a resolution comparison between the two cameras. I'm going to punch in to about 400% on these images right now so you can see the difference up close. Here's our low light comparison between the two cameras. Since I was only able to shoot at a maximum ISO of 1600 on the Blackmagic Cinema Camera, I actually had to crank it up quite a bit in post, bringing up the levels to emulate what it would have looked like if we could have shot at 3200, 6400 and above. The clear winner here is of course the C100. With that said, the Blackmagic is not horrible in low light. It may not be a low light king like some of the other cameras, FS700 or even a 5D, but it can definitely get away with shooting in some natural light with the right glass. Here's a very quick rolling shutter test between the two cameras. They both have a CMOS sensor, so there's not going to be a huge difference here. Ultimately though, who is this camera best for? Is it better for the event videographer? Is it better for the filmmaker, the documentarian? In my opinion, it's good for those shooters that are doing a lot of different types of projects. It's a very, very versatile camera. You can take it to a documentary shoot, you can take it to a narrative film shoot on the same day or the same week, and it's just gonna work. A camera like the Blackmagic, which I absolutely love, is better really in a narrative environment where you have control over the lighting, or you have control over the situation a lot more so than the C100, where you can really just take it out and run and gun. Another point to consider when it comes down to the cost of this camera is the fact that you really don't need to accessorize it. There are some negatives about it. The eyepiece isn't the best. You may want an external EVF down the road. You may want some other components for your own personal usage, but the bottom line is this camera pretty much works right out of the box. If you're buying a Blackmagic Cinema camera, you are going to need a bunch of external accessories. You're going to need monitors, you're going to need external battery solutions, possibly even V-mount batteries. So the cost really does balance out in the end. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you took something away from this, and this may have made your decision a little bit easier in terms of deciding between these two cameras, or particularly deciding whether or not the C100 is a good fit for you. Check back soon, as I'll be doing plenty more video reviews in the near future.